Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well and especially doing well on this topic of moment, which is, I'm sure you would have already figured out while practicing question number 1 to 4 that it is one of the easier topic in physics. The questions are pretty straightforward so far. Even the question that you see here on the screen is pretty straightforward. So if you want, you can pause the screen here for a while, attempt the question yourself, and then play the video again to look at the working of it. So here you have the question. Define the torque of a couple. Now this question is a repeat of what we have already done in one of the questions that we have practiced so far on moments, and there also it was a 2-mark question. So that means Cambridge has a set standard of what they expect the students to write for this answer. So if the Cambridge is straightforward repeating this question again and again, so why not make an effort, make a note of it and understand how to write it in what Cambridge expects us to write. So simple. It is the magnitude, it's the product of the magnitude of one of the forces and the distance between the force. If you're just writing the distance between the force, you get 1 mark. If you see it's written M1, M1 means you get just 1 mark. But if you are talking about the perpendicular distance between the force, perpendicular distance, if you are including this term, perpendicular, you get the 2nd mark also. So be careful of this term perpendicular distance if you want to gain 2 whole marks in these kind of questions. This is the 2nd time that I am telling you this particular thing while practicing the questions on moments. So if you see the pattern here, the pattern is that the questions keep repeating. That's why it's always a good idea to practice more and more past paper questions. So a torque wrench, I'm on the B part now. A torque wrench is a type of a spanner for tightening a nut and bolt to a particular torque, as illustrated in this figure here. The wrench is put on the nut and the force is applied to the handle. A scale indicates the torque applied. So the scale here indicates the torque applied. The nut on a particular car must be tightened to a torque of 130 Newton meters. This is achieved by applying a force F to the wrench at a distance 45 centimeters from its center of rotation C. So let us locate all the information which is given in the question. Center of rotation C, where is it? Here, 45 centimeters here. This force may be applied at an angle theta to the axis of the handle as shown in this figure. So I have read the question, I have explained the question. If you still do not understand the question, pause the screen here, please. That's what I insist and that's what I recommend. Pause the screen and read the question again yourself and try to locate all the information clearly in the picture here. Okay, so for the minimum value of F to achieve this torque, state the magnitude of the angle theta that should be used. If you want to apply the minimum value of the force to create this torque, what should be the value of theta? It should be 90. It comes from your understanding of moments, right? Force has to be perpendicular, then it creates the maximum moment for the smallest magnitude of that particular force. Calculate the magnitude of that force F. As I said, this is a short question. What should be the magnitude? That force, let's say that that particular force which is applied at 90 degrees is F. How would this force look like? I'll show you as well. This force would look like this. And the theta would be for that particular force 90 degrees. Let's say that this force is F times the perpendicular distance 45. Now 45 is a centimeter, so let's convert it into SI units. So 0.45 should be equal to the torque that they want, 130 Newton meters. All you have to do is to solve this question now. So 130 over 0.45. Now I'll stop here because this is now work for you to do on your calculators because I'm not carrying any calculator. Work it out, pause the screen and see if your answer is tallying with the mark scheme. Yes, they have also done the same thing. 290 Newton. Okay. So So your answer should be 290 newtons. I'll also show you the mark scheme, and I'll leave the screen open for a while I talk here so that you can make a note. You can pause the screen here and understand the mark scheme as well, because as I always say, understanding the mark scheme is very relevant as you're solving the questions, right? Marking scheme gives you an idea about how examiners will mark your question. It is a set standard set by the Cambridge, which is passed on to the examiners. The examiners look at the mark scheme and they use it as a standard to mark the answer script for each of the students. Alright, so this was our question number 5. In the next video, we'll be taking up question number 6.